Lead us in the pledge, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Cully, would you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Seat A, Chucky Sheramy.
Here.
Seat B, Tom Pete.
Here.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafourche.
Here.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Here.
Seat E, Ted Sabwa.
Here.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Here.
Seat G, John Melisson.
Here.
Seat H, Mike Calais. Here. Seat I, Chris Calais.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Cully. Next, we have approved minutes for November 9th, 2022, and November 22nd, 2022 meetings. Need a motion? By Larry
Second.
Griffin, second by John Melisson. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have the director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our northern expansion projects. Northern expansion slip C and flotation canal bulkhead, Picciola and Associates. Joe.
APC is the contractor. Currently, they're working on blasting and painting the steel sheet pile and also bringing in lightweight aggregate. They are running a little bit behind schedule now, mostly due to weather, but I expect they're going to complete it sometime in the latter part of January, mid to the latter part of January.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, moving on to northern expansion slip C and flotation canal sweep dredging.
So we accepted bids in November on this project. Coastal Dredging Company was the low bidder. We're currently processing contracts and then trying to time the start of this project after the completion of the bulkhead, and everything's on schedule to do that.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Joe. Moving to airport projects, aircraft operations. Davey.
Aircraft operations for last month, 1,521. Passengers, 10,128. And vehicle count was 24,655.
All right. Any questions? Okay, airport connector road and bridge.
Sea Level is the contractor. They completed all the drainage work on LA1, 308, and 3235. Currently, they're primarily working on forming up for concrete pours on the two main columns on the west side. I expect, they haven't given us a date when they're going to pour, but I expect in the next couple of weeks they'll pour those two columns. It'll be the first columns that we pour.
Okay.
And then they expect to work on probably the sound barrier and then the base work of the corridor itself starting early next year.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Seal coat and pavement markings project, GIS engineering.
Okay, G Asphalt was the contractor on this project. We finally got the inspectors out there to show that the seal coat is acting like it's intended to, so we are recommending release of the retainage, which is later on in your agenda.
Okay. Any questions? All right, airport terminal surcharge project.
Y'all awarded that contract to Onshore Construction. We need to get a categorical exclusion from the feds in order to start that project, but Onshore is ready to go. We'll probably start them in the beginning of January.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the approach obstruction removal. Davey.
Approach obstruction removal, the work has been complete. L&D contractors did request additional money for Eagle's Nest they ran into first time and compensation, and we did send him a denial on that, and we're trying to set up a meeting to discuss further.
All right. Any questions? Okay, moving on to other projects. The Fouchon Pavilion, PCO and Associates.
So Onshore Construction is the contractor. They completed the concrete slab and they started erecting the building. They expect to be complete with the building erection sometimes towards the end of this month, early next month. In that time frame, they are going to start working on the drainage work in the parking lot out front, and then electrical stuff will fall in shortly thereafter.
Okay. All right. Progress. Thank you. All right, the port security LWIN system. John.
The loop tower failed structural. We're looking at moving the project to the Lafourche Parish Government Tower at South Lafourche.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. All right, the Hurricane Ida repair projects. Davey.
Okay, the airport terminal repair, GIS engineering, water to Freetown Builders is the contractor. They're getting ready to schedule a pre-construction meeting on that project. Flotation canal, mooring dolphin repairs, and let PCO as the engineer. We received bids and he's going to recommend today sea level construction at $2,040,000 on that project. Everett Collins Marina bucket dredging, PCO and Associates, the engineer. We did have a bid opening and they will be recommending today Paison's drag line at a bid of $636,240.63. Port complex demolition, that project, Tidewater Docks bid, they're complete. So we're.
What's that?
Okay.
Tidewater Docks project is complete and approve a clear lien certificate is what we're gonna do at this meeting. Public boat launch bathhouse, did have a substantial completing on that job. And they have 2 little light fixtures on the punch list they left to complete. Administration building up front, the plans design group is the engineer, PCO Construction, has subs working on the roof, interior spray insulation, and actually walls and ceiling are being worked on as well. Operations Center, EOC and Maintenance Warehouse is Red engineer, contractors, Tosh. And I talked to Gabe today, they did some work on the EOC. They're expecting the roof material to come in and they'll be on site the first or second week in January to start the roof work on that project. Boat lift repairs and wharf engineer, GIS is the engineer, Tidewater Docks did start. A week or so ago, they completed Storm Harbor Marina. They're now working on the front marina, on the Harbor Police Wharf, and electrical for the boat lifts. And on small projects, GIS is complete with all the small projects. He only has 2 items, a couple of door awnings at airfield equipment buildings at here.
All right. Any questions on all of those projects? Things are moving along, finally. All right, that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, next we have is public comment.
Okay, we do have Mr. Vic Lafourche with South Louisiana Economic Council wants to give you a brief update on what's happening at SLEC and in our region.
Thank you, Chad. Vic Lafourche with the South Louisiana Economic Council. You should have a report right in front of you. That's a third quarter report for SLEC. And you should have a booklet there with an ink pen. That's for you guys too. I was told to go briefly, and I want to thank Chet for giving me at least the public comment opportunity. We've done a lot, but I'm going to have to be really quick. As you can see, please take some time later to take a look at what information that's in this packet. It's very relevant. A lot of it really touches on the port, and I'm particularly happy about that. But we have H2 the Future. It's a $50 million grant, supplemented by $25 million by the state. And that is to work on hydrogen, emerging energies. You probably have heard about it. The 5 economic development regional organizations like myself, Bragg, GNO Inc., Warren Acadiana, and Southwest Louisiana Partnership, we're working on business development. Universities like UNO, LSU, Nichols, ULL will be working on research. Bureau of Energy, well, the BOEM, okay, in there, you see we had an opportunity to write a letter, to kind of put in a good word on how the Gulf Coast, and particularly offshore, is conducive for wind and how thousands, hundreds of our jobs are connected to the Gulf of Mexico. On announcements, I'm sure you've heard John Deere expansion, of $29 million expansion, 30 new jobs, retaining 311. Really big for this region because a lot of people throughout the region work there. Economic outlook. I don't know how many of y'all had an opportunity to look at the Zoom presentation from Dr. Lawrence Scott's economic outlook. In particular, he emphasized some really good points, and I thought it was going to be even bad news on top of other bad news. And I encourage you to go to bayouregion.com, look at your packet, and actually look at the presentation, the PowerPoint of what he presented. But Chad, what he talked about, you participated, he talked about $28 million will be spent in 2023 to further dredging and bulkhead work. $40 million will be spent dredging, of course, to get to that 33 feet depth, but I think it's a game changer. You know. Then, of course, the airport, what you're doing there, you know, a $35 million road project that's being done. On project updates, business recruitment, we've partnered with Entergy. It's our second year. That's trying to recruit companies to the region. Last year, we targeted 300 companies. We surveyed 247. We landed 11 interviews, and we got one prospect, C Automation, who's still there working on it. Chet knows probably more about that than any of you. Certified sites, Select still has a certified sites program. There are two, one for the million, that's for the big sites. This is for the intermediary. And we have 4 sites, 2 in West St. Mary Port and 2 here at the Galeana Airport. So that's already been cleared and evaluated by LED. Let's see, workforce development. Guys, I get out of 10 calls, 7 is going to be about workforce. The companies call and ask, hey, what programs are available out there to help us with workforce? Well, what we did, we signed a memorandum of understanding, selected, with Fletcher and a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nichols. And 3 of us are going to get together and really attack the workforce situation. We're planning a workforce summit. We're doing research now. I mean, what is it? But people are not working, not coming to work. Is it transportation? Is it daycare? Is it housing? Is it the dollar? You know, you got to pay for your light bill these days, worry about what that's competing with. But we're going to find out, and what we're going to do is, you know, well, where does it hurt? Well, it's hurt. Well, where is it hurting? Tell me where it hurts so we can address it, okay? And that's what we're going to do. So in late spring, we're going to have a workforce development summit. Guyana Trade Mission, that's in your report, but that was done before. In November, we ended up going there. We had 9 companies from the region that went there. While we were there, Select also hosted a breakfast with the Guyana Chamber of Commerce. And at that time, let's see, hold on a minute. At that time, we were able to connect with, and they were, if you look at, some of you know this, the place is like 50 years, looks like us 50 years ago, okay? They need everything, okay? I mean, everything. And Edison Schwess is the one who got us involved with this thing because they like to leave their footprint as to not just industry, schools, medical, you know. So when we have OTC in the spring, there are some of these companies that want to try and do business here will be coming. After OTC, they're just going to take a little side trip to here. So we'll be hosting something right after OTC here with companies from Guyana. So heads up, Chad. We did some good work there. And of course, they had a lot of questions about the port. Emerging energies, excited about that one. You know, wind, solar, carbon capture, okay? What we did, we got together with some key companies in the region who was somebody who's appointed to, within the company, emerging energies, okay? We got those people together and we formed this task force. It's quickly turning into a coalition. Chet's part of that as well. And again, what should it be? Should it be carbon capture, wind, or all of them? Which ones? But we're addressing it, and we have an identity now with this task force. It's not just New Orleans, Baton Rouge, or whatever, okay? We didn't want anybody else dictating what we do in this area. So we circled the wagons, and now we have an identity. We have Ms. Laurie LeBlanc, who was a Gulf Economic Survival Team executive director, worked for Lamoga, vice president. Now she's back on her own doing this kind of work, and we've contracted to head up the group. Oops. Okay. Coastal Technical Assistance Center, CTAC. I'm sure y'all have heard about that. In fact, I think somebody may have already come talk to. That's a Select project as well. You know, $20 billion is going to be spent on coastal restoration projects in the next 20 years, okay? what's to say our subcontractors that are actually located here are going to participate? Well, there was no guarantee, but there is now, okay? We have this organization, that's this organization, this initiative to where we signed up, we've got up to 118 companies, subcontractors, that are being put on a list, a preferred list, that can work with the prime contractors to be able to take part of this. Because the prime contractors come in, if you don't tell them what's a good company or a bad company or a company that's capable of doing the work, they're going to bring their own subcontractor, wherever they're from, whether it's Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida. We don't have a problem with that. But if we can do the work, give us first shot. So that's the whole purpose of that organization. The last thing is a regional strategic plan. SLEC was formed back in 1984, 83, 84. Most of the board members back then are now gone. And it was your community leaders, people like Edison Trust Offshore, Mr. Donald Bollinger. I can go down the list. Now, what is our priorities? I mean, I look at you guys, commission, you represent your area. Your area is a tough area right now. I mean, I still see coming down there, it makes me feel bad just to see all the debris on the side of the road that they're still doing. It's almost a year and a half since the storm. But after, looking back, 7 years, 6 years, 2 major economic downturns in the oil and gas industry, a pandemic, and I'm sorry, Washington, D.C., they don't like oil and gas, okay? Then we have a hurricane. The whole economic landscape has changed, okay? Changed completely. I don't even know what my services should be anymore. And I'm getting ready to go out. I mean, my career, So what do we need to do to actually, how do we find out what companies really need? So we hired this third-party company called Emergent Methods. They're coming in. Some of you may have been surveyed or you participated in a round table. I know, Chet, you have, with infrastructure. And we're actually facilitating. You tell us what the needs of industry it will be, We're going to roll out that plan in first week of March, so that's changed, Chad. We said January, it's going to be the first week of March, and we're going to actually have some panelists in 4 different areas, whether it's cybersecurity, ports, whatever, and we're going to show what the new SLEC looks like. It's a relaunch of the South Louisiana Economic Council. It may not even look, the logo you see on that thing may not even be that, it may be a different logo, but we're completely upgrading everything, and in the end, we're going to have 3 things. 1, what our services are upgraded today. 2, who should manage it? What's the faces of that board? Who are they? Should they look like? And number 3, who's going to pay for it? Whether it's the state, local government, agencies like yourself, or industry, or a combination of all that. So that's what we're doing, okay? So just heads up. In fact, I'm going to probably come back and speak to y'all just about that strategic plan before it's actually rolled out.
Okay.
Any questions?
Have any questions for Vic?
Thank you, Mr. Lafone, for the presentation.
Good.
Thank you, Vic.
Right. Okay, any more public comment? Okay, next we're going into committee reports. First, we have executive committee. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Rodney Jusclair Sr., Larry Griffin, and Jim Lafone. First, we have consider approving the agreement with Ducks Unlimited for terraces in Lafourche.
All right, so we've been working with Ducks Unlimited and a number of other organizations, including CPRA and Lafourche Parish Government, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, and Wisner on this project. It's a $2.7 million project, and our share is $250,000. Recommendation to approve.
Right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, second by Mr. Ted Savoy. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the request from Triple J's Soul Food LLC for food truck lease and port.
All right, so this is another food truck coming in. They are wanting to lease an area. We're going to put them, locate them at the old Cajun truck stop parking area. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Mike Collier, second by Jim Lafone. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Next, considering updating resolution for Bell Pass Channel Deepening Project with the Corps Engineer.
All right, so this is a resolution to approve the federal cost share agreement with the Corps of Engineers. Y'all approved it last month, but the numbers were not right. They had to increase the numbers by about $49,000. to a total of $1,306,000. That's a 50/50 cost share, so our share is $653,000 to get our project to fruition, basically, so we can go and dredge. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion? Moved by Mr. Larry Griffin, second by Tom Peet. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the filing consensus
Concursus.
for proceedings for the approach obstruction removal project.
All right, so this project, as you're aware, had some issues on the back end when the project is complete, but there are some claims for, in terms of a lien for non-payment to subcontractors by the contractor. Bryce, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, this is actually this proceeding is required by the public bid law whenever you get past the 45 days following substantial completion, which we are. If you have outstanding claims against the project, you're required to basically deposit the retainage with the court and serve the contractor, the subcontractors, and the surety to come and assert their claims to that money. So it's actually required of the Port Commission under the public bid law. So we're just asking y'all to approve us filing it.
All right. Moved by John Mellison, second by Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. All right, we're getting out of executive committee, we have nothing for permits and waterways. We're going into construction and development. Members are Chris Colley, Chairman, Mike Colley, Jimmy Lafon, Chucky Sherman. Mr. Colley.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. First, we have to consider adopting the DOTD resolution certifying compliance with the public bid laws for Slip C Sweep Dredging Project.
Okay, this project is with Port Priority, DOTD Port Priority funds. This is a resolution that must be passed certifying we followed all public bid laws. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Chris Colley, second by Mr. Ted Savoy. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 2, consider accepting the clear lien certificate from G Asphalt Systems for the seal coat and pavement marking.
All right, this project is complete and all is in order. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Rodney Gisclair, second by Mr. Jimmy Lafon. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 3, consider approving change order number 1 from Onshore Construction for the Fouchon Pavilion.
Okay, this change order is for an increase of $58,992.56, and that's for the additive mixture that we requested for the concrete. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Chris Colley, second by Mr. Tom Peet. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 4, consider approving to award the lowest responsive bid for the flotation canal mooring dolphin repair.
All right, the low bidder was Sea Level Construction Incorporated for $2,040,000. Recommendation to approve.
Need a motion. Moved by Mr. Mike Colley, second by Mr. John Mellison. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 5, consider approving to award the lowest responsive bid for the Nerby Collins Marina bucket dredge.
For that project, lowest responsive bidder was Plaisance Dragline and Dredging Company for $636,240.63.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Jimmy Lafon, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 6, consider accepting the clear lien certificate from Tidewater Dock for the port complex demolition.
That project is complete. All is in order. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Tom Peet, second by Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Item 7, consider approving the substantial completion certificate from Grand Isle Shipyard for the public boat launch bathhouse repairs.
All right, this project is complete. There's a few punch list items, but recommendation to approve substantial completion.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Chris Collier, second by Mr. Mike Collier. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the Construction and Development Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Collier. Next, we're going into Finance Committee. Members are John Melisson Jr., Chairman, Larry Griffin, Chris Collier, and Chucky Sherman. Your turn, Mr. Melisson.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. It was wonderful to see you and Mr. Colley work on a long agenda for construction. It's been a while.
Yep.
So we'll begin by considering approving the payments of the November 2022 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. And we'll begin with our first payment to LA DOTD, $5 million. And that's one of our payments. How many payments we have left, Mr. Chasso?
This is our second payment.
This is our second
So
payment.
we'll have 3 left after this year.
All right, so it's our second payment to help with the elevated highway Phase 2. Next, we have Sea Level Construction Incorporated, $402,028.78, and that's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge. Item 3, Grand Isle Shipyard, $247,430.26, and that's for Hurricane Ida repairs, the back administration building and warehouse, the airport hangar, the airport maintenance shop, and the Fouchon bathhouse. Also, contract labor for the airport. Item 4, GIS engineering, $189,675.49. And that's for Slip D bulkhead and dredging, West Fouchon Marsh Project, Fouchon Island Bridge and Connector Road, upgrades, Bell Pass deepening project, and general engineering. Next, we have Piciola Construction Company Incorporated, $182,423.75, and that's for Hurricane Ida repairs to the administration building in Galliano. Item 6, APC Construction LLC, $114,246.08. And that's for the Northern Expansion Phase 3 Slip C Bulkhead Part 2. Item 7, Angelette Piciola LLC, $87,000.88. And that's for the Fouchon Beach Maintenance, Restoration, and Protection Project, along with the Fouchon Bridge, the Fouchon Island Permit Conceptual Development, and the Bell Pass Tower Platform. And last, we have Piciola and Associates, $36,092.52, and that's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge Project, along with the Northern Expansion Phase 3 Slip C dredging and general engineering and permits. And these expenditures, along with all the others, bring us to a grand total of $7,688,979.74. And Mr. Griffin, if I did not make any mistakes today, I'd like to make a motion we accept these expenditures.
It's 25,000 instead of 10. Said the expenditure of 10,000, you still to the old, but it's 25,000 now.
So I'll make a motion based on Mr. Griffin's suggestion.
Okay. All right. I got a motion by Mr. John Melisson, second by Mr. Chris Collier. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, it's always good to have a watchdog on your right-hand side, let me tell you. As discussed on Monday night, we need to consider approving the November 2022 unaudited financial statements, and I'd like to make a motion we accept these.
I got a motion by Mr. John Melisson, second by Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
And next, we'll bring up Ms. Miranda Parker and have her discuss our budget, and then we'll consider approving that, Mr. President.
Morning. Okay, so we're going to start on the second page, right after the cover page. And we'll start right here at the top for our 2023 budget. First, we have our operating revenues. These are the revenues that include lease revenue, dolphin rentals, airport revenue, and fuel sales. We anticipate these to increase from projected 2022 by about $1.1 million, and that's going to be due to our 5% increase in rents. From there, we deduct costs of landowner and depreciation expense, and that is expected to increase by about $619,000, and that is due to improvement rent being paid off. We begin sharing with the landowner. That gives us a gross profit of $17,891,141, which is an expected increase of about $134,000. From there, we would deduct our operating expenses, which are expected to be around $28 million, which is a $12 million increase from projected 2022. Keep in mind that $4 million of this is actually IDA repairs. The other IDA repairs are in our capital projects. From there, we would have our operating loss of $10,142,277. And to that number, we would add in our non-operating revenues, which are expected to be around $10.9 million, to give us a net income of $831,377. Now we're going to go over the non-operating revenues. If you'll turn to page 17 of your budget for me. That's the second to last page. Our non-operating revenues are made up of our ad valorem, which is expected to be around $2.9 million this year, which is less than what we have budgeted previously before IDA, but more than what we budgeted last year. Also, I'd like to note the grant revenue is also located on this page for our capital and operating projects. And also this year, we did estimate conservatively that we should expect around $5 million from FEMA. Keep in mind, we have about $10 million in projects from FEMA. Typically, you would receive 90% of that. However, those funds have not been obligated yet, so we did not budget for the full $9 million. We kept it at $5 million to be conservative. From there, you'll see the interest revenue. We budgeted that around $1 million this year. I am expecting a slight decrease in interest rates. And then below that, you'll see our emergency repair projects. Typically, we do budget 5% of our operating and capital budget, but this year we also added in the replacement and repair projects that will become assets that I spoke about previously. That is, the detail of that is going to be on page 18, which is right behind this page. Just to hit some highlights of what those major repairs are, we have our administrative building, which is going to be a little over $1 million. Also, our airport hangar repairs will be around $1 million. The Fouchon warehouse is around $635,000. Nerby Collins Marina repairs around $708,000. Front Commercial Marina wharf repairs, $969,000. And our elevated camera platform, around $750,000. Now, if we go back to page 17, that gives us a total on that of $6.4 million in repairs and replacement. So that number is added into that emergency repair projects number. And then right below that, you'll see our special items. These are non-operating costs and management control that are unusual and infrequent in nature. Some of the highlights here are the beach restoration project for $2 million, the bridge access for $1 million, LA1 Phase 2 contribution that we just mentioned. This is going to be our $5 million payment. This will be our third payment out of 5. LA1 mitigation dredge for $4.3 million. And that gives us a total non-operating revenue, like we previously discussed, of the 10.9 on our very first page. Now, if you turn to page 2 for me of your budget, we'll start going over some of the details that are behind that summary page. On page 2, this is our capital additions. It includes all of our purchases for capital and also all of our projects, just a summary of all those numbers. Right behind that, page 3, this is our lease revenue and cost of goods sold. And if you go to page 4 for me, I'll go over some of the construction projects in the Seaport Profit Center. The very first project is the Northern Expansion Slip C Sweep Dredge. This is going to be for a total of $1.8 million. $604,000 of this is actually going to be funded by port priority money. Below that is our Mooring Dolphin project. This is going to be around $5.2 million, completely Port Commission funded. Right below that is Slip D Bulkhead. This is going to be a $19 million project. but 11.9 of this is expected to be funded through port priority money. And then from there, if you go to page 5, this is our Seaport Public Works Cost Center. Typically, this is our detail. This is where our details start of our expenses. Typically, the way it's laid out is we have our payroll first, our benefits, insurance, utilities, which are consistent throughout each department. I would like to point out, this year we have a little bit higher of a number in Bayou Lafourche maintenance, and this is $600,000 for the Ida Bayou Lafourche Waterway Inland Marine debris removal for some of the larger items that have not been removed yet. And then right below that, you'll see our expense projects. That detail is on page 6. So out of the $28 million that we had, that large increase in our operating expenses, these are maintenance projects that need to be done this year that are totaling at around $9 million. So that's why that number is higher than usual. So to go over some of that detail on page 6, we have flotation canal and front marina maintenance dredge for $3.1 million. We have our Bell Pass channel deepening study for $950,000. We have the flotation canal road drainage replacement and paving for $1.1 million. The Fouchon breakwaters for $1.2 million, and the flotation canal channel dredging for $1.9 million. And if you go back to that page 5 for me, we'll go over some of the larger items in our vehicle and field equipment purchases. We have our tractor with the sidearm attachments, $185,000, a tractor for $100,000, and also a front mower for $19,000. A tire balancing machine for $6,500, and also a fuel tank for $8,500. Right below there, you'll see about 3.8 in capital projects, and the detail for that is going to be on page 7. I'll go over some of the larger projects for Seaport Public Works. We have our coastal wetlands park. This is going to be around $1 million project, of which $350,000 will be funded through Land and Water Conservation Fund. Right below there, we have our Fouchon Bridge at $1.3 million, and also Fouchon Island Bucket Dredge for $500,000. And then on page 8, this is our Harbor Police Cost Center. This is pretty much in line with previous years. However, if you look at repairs and maintenance building and grounds, we do have some EOC IDA repairs for $129,000, some OPS IDA repairs for $156,000. The EOC elevator needs to be repaired. That's going to be around $80,000, and the OPS elevator repair for $15,000. Right below there, you'll see in buildings, we have budgeted the OPS roof and also the heater for the shop at a total of $178,000. And then in vehicles and field equipment, we have budgeted 4 2023 Chevy Tahoes with police package and a 2023 Dodge 2500 pickup truck. Below that, we have our capital projects, which are on the next page, page 9. These are going to be our 2 port security projects, which are totaling about $707,000, of which about $612,000 will be funded by the Department of Homeland Security. And on our next page, this is our leash revenue at the airport, which is consistent with previous years. And right behind that, we have our Airport Public Works Cost Center. Some highlights here are in repairs and maintenance building and grounds. We have our airport terminal repairs for around $320,000. And below there, you'll see our construction expense projects. We have our master plan update and also the LED site certification. This is going to be around $580,000, of which $550,000 will be grant funded. Below there, you'll see $16 million in capital projects. On the next page, on page 13, is where these capital projects are. This is going to be our terminal design and construction project of around $2.9 million. We expect about $760,000 of that to be grant funded. And then from there, we have our airport connector road and bridge for $12.8 million. We expect $6.7 million from Federal Highway Administration, $3.7 from Capital Outlay, and $1.1 million from Lafourche Parish Government. Underneath that, we have our fuel storage and dispenser replacement for around $300,000. We expect grant funding of around $220,000 from LADOTD for this. And right at the bottom, we have our GAO surcharge of $237,000. And on the next page, we have our fuel sales and cost of goods sold, again, consistent with previous years. And our airport FBO cost center, again, no major highlights there. And then right behind that, we have our admin cost center. This also is in line with previous years. However, this is where we locate our interagency agreements with SLEC, Restore Retreat, LA1, the Levy District, also our Green Marine, and Nichols. And then right below there, if you see office furniture and equipment, this is a lot of ITER replacement equipment. We have two copiers at $20,000, the recabling of the admin building at $50,000, and also the access control for the admin building for $30,000. Right below there, we have vehicles and field equipment. We intend to purchase a new standby generator for the admin building for $120,000 and also an SUV. And on your next page is our non-operating revenue that we already covered. So if you go back to that first page where we have the summary, we can go over our statement of cash flows. We expect to end 2022 with around $120 million. From there, we would add in our net income of $831,000 and also add in depreciation expense of around $8.7 million. We would deduct our purchase of capital assets for $1.2 million and also our total cost of capital projects for $47 million. From there, we would add in our increases and decreases in deferred revenue, other payables, and other receivables to give us an ending cash number of $77,697,911. From there, we would deduct our investment in Fouchon Island to give us a total ending cash of $27,697,911. And if you go to the chart at the bottom for me, we'll go over the budget totals briefly. Our operating budget is anticipated to be around $40,610,266. Capital budget, $48,394,351. And our non-operating budget, $24,647,763, to give us a total budget for the year of $113,652,380. Any questions?
Y'all absorbed all of that, gentlemen?
Yep.
We've been crunching and beating them numbers for 6 weeks now.
Lined it up on the right page, anyway.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms.
A lot
Barker?
of matters.
Chet, you have anything to comment on?
I'd just like to say that we appreciate everyone working with us on this. Our staff does a really good job. I know you usually say that, but everybody has a part in this, in putting this budget together. This is our largest budget we've ever had, mainly because of the IDA repairs and work that needs to be done. The other thing is we budget very conservatively, very, very conservatively. Like, we anticipate every possible dollar that could potentially be spent. You can see when we look at the comparisons about when we budget and then what the actuals are at the end of the year. They're not nearly what we budget, but we're conservative and we take that approach. Y'all allow us to take that approach, and I think we do a good job with the public's money, and I hope they feel the same way.
Well, thank you. If there are no other questions, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the 2023 budget.
All right, I got a motion from Mr. John Mellison, second from Mr. Larry Griffin. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving on, we have out-of-state travel and training request. We have Director of Grants and Communications, Thad Angelos, attending the American Association of Port Authorities Summit and Expo in Florida, January 24th through the 26th. Excuse me. We also have, next we have Harbor Patrol Officer Luke Adams attending the TAC Flow Ballistic Shield Operator Instructor Program in Texas, February 12th through the 17th. And last, we have Homeland Security Specialist Corporal Scott Bynum, along with Director of IT John Crochet, attending Central Square User Conference in Tennessee. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we accept these out-of-state travel and training requests.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. John Melleson, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion pass.
Mr. President, this concludes the Finance Committee report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Melleson. Next, we got executive sessions. All right, we're gonna need a motion. We're gonna need a
Yeah.
roll
Motion.
call vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to make a motion first?
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion, we go into session.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. John Melleson, second by Mr. Tom P. Any discussion? Any public comment? All right, Mr. Colley, would you give us a roll call vote?
Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
Yes.
Seat B, Tom Peak.
Yes.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafont.
Yes.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair.
Yes.
Seat E, Ted Savoy.
Yes.
Seat F, Larry Griffin.
Yes.
Seat G, John Melleson.
Yes.
Seat H, Mike Colley, yes. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Yes.
It's been approved.
All right,
Mr.
let's
President.
take a photo.
Well, you got the vote. We can go.
We can go. All right. Back from executive session, that's all we got, this review. Okay. Any other business? All right. First thing
I move that we adjourn, Mr. President.
wait, not
Wait,
yet.
wait.
We didn't do public comment.
Sorry, Mr. President.
All right. First I'm going to ask is, all our commissioners, Christmas is coming around. I do this every year. Would each commissioner say something for Merry Christmas to the people out there from each one? So start off, Mr. Petrie.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's.
Mr. Lafont.
Everybody, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Thank you.
Yeah, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, a blessed Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Well, everybody here on the bayou, we do Christmas on the bayou, so Merry Christmas.
Mr. Griffin.
Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody, and always remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry Christmas.
Mr. Melleson.
Thank you. I'd like to express, Mr. Colley had a funeral to attend, so he left us and he wanted to express Merry Christmas to everyone. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Kenneth Sheremy, who passed away, who was a great friend of the veterans and a great community steward, and he would be really, really missed. And my wife and I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
All right, guys, just stay safe. Stay positive. The holidays are around. Watch what you're doing. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone out there. And keep your families in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Mr. Chesson.
Yeah, I wanted to announce, just as we did last year, we're doing Safe Ride Home for the holidays again this year. That'll begin on the 16th, and it'll go all the way through January 1st. So if you need a ride and you don't have a ride for all of these holiday events going on, you call 396-3911, and you will get a harbor policeman to pick you up and bring you home. It's all within the 10th ward of the parish. Okay, just want to announce that, and that's our way of giving, continuing to give back to the community. We want everybody to be safe and have a great holiday season, and from the staff of the port, want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
All right.
Again, this is me personally, not the board. But don't be ashamed or afraid to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. Say Christmas, Merry Christmas, because it's his birthday. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to say from me and my family to everyone, Merry Christmas. We had it's been a good Christmas. I got grandkids now this year, so I'm broke. But I mean, everyone have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And look, don't be ashamed to call the Harbor Patrol for driving. We don't need any drunk drivers on the road, any accidents at this time of the year for something. That's not something to be ashamed about. Use it. We really want, because we want everyone to go back home to their families. It's Christmas time, New Year's, everyone. And I gotta say, from the Port Commission, the staff, employees, everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and enjoy it. And look, no dieting starting today. So, everyone eat healthy. Merry Christmas. All right.
More public comment?
Any more public comment?
Move that we adjourn, Mr. President.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Jim Lafont, second by Mr. Tom Pete. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for coming to the meeting this year. Last one of the year.